Frankie Terrett-Stutz, and on this episode of Behind the Barn, I'm thrilled to be joined by the ever so lovely Lucienne Bellissimo to get to know her a bit outside of the saddle with a few laughs and just a smidge of serious questions, including answers to those submitted by you, our viewers, of course. Before we officially get started, though, let me give Lucienne a proper introduction. Lucienne Bellissimo is a high-ranking event rider with numerous accolades and success in international competition, to include ranking 9th in the U.S. eventing rankings and a top 50 in the World FEI eventing athlete rankings. Currently representing Great Britain, Lucienne's main focus is producing a string of horses to the 5-star level and delivering the highest quality of international event horse sales, having been a leading presence in the sales and sourcing industry for over 20 years. So in summary, Lucienne Bellissimo's career is marked by significant achievements in competitive eventing, innovative contributions to equestrian businesses, and a deep commitment to the advancement of the sport. But before I get to be able to chat with her officially and welcome her to the show, I want to, of course, take a moment to thank our incredible sponsor of this episode, Tryon International, a premier equestrian destination located in Blue Ridge foothills of Millstring, North Carolina. Featured world-class facilities for all levels and disciplines, Tryon International hosts top competitions year-round in a horse-first environment. Visitors can enjoy on-site dining, shopping, lodging, and family entertainment, making it a vibrant hub for those who love horses, outdoor living, and an active lifestyle. You can learn more about that beautiful venue at tryon.com. And with that, now I finally get to welcome Lucienne officially to Behind the Barn. Welcome so much, and thanks for joining me.
Hi, thank you. I don't know how I follow that.
Well, I get to read it, so.
Lovely to be here, Frankie.
Thanks so much for coming on the show. I'm so excited to get to chat with you today. And I think that, a lot of people, myself included, we've gotten to see you the last few years and kind of see you from afar and awe a bit, but not really get to know you as much. And so today I'm excited to dive in for our viewers at Behind the Barn. And we're going to start with some fun questions. So first, I want to know, what's the weirdest thing that you've ever had to explain to a non-horse person about eventing? Because when you stop and think back on it, right, it is fairly strange. It's like a traveling circus, what we do. So how do you explain that to a non-horse person?
So I'm not sure if this fully answers your question, but I had a moment with a very good friend of mine about 15 years ago. He's actually a professional windsurfer. And he came to watch me eventing at Tryon International. And I just took for granted that he understood that we'd be doing dressage, jumping, and cross country. And he came, and he had no idea. And he came to see me after I did the dressage. And he said to me, can you explain what that was? Was that a competition that you just did? I don't understand. He said, you look like a fly that was trapped in a window trying to get out. Okay, let's start again. Let's try to explain what dressage is.
Yeah.
So, trying to explain to somebody what whiteboards are and the staying inside of those whiteboards, and that's actually part of our sport, and looking that serious and not just galloping the whole time. Yeah, so for me, probably trying to explain what dressage is to somebody that has never seen a horse under saddle before was quite fun, and getting their delivery of they thought I looked like a fly trapped in a window trying to get out. Maybe
I do love that, because it is so true, right? I've heard so many significant others over the years say like that they're not really sure how to react, especially in the dressage, because I mean, think about it. Sometimes we aren't even sure how to react if it was good or not, right? And here they are, and they're like kind of waiting for the facial expression of what they should like. Thumbs up, or how did it go?
Or were you just, yes, this is a premeditated test, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No. Yeah, that was my game plan. We're happy with it. Okay, just follow suit. Well, what advice would you have for your younger self in the sport, knowing what you know now? I mean, it's so easy to kind of look back and think like, gosh, if only I'd known then.
Honestly, probably just to not take myself quite so seriously. In my teens, and I don't know if it's just England in general, there's something that's celebrated about being quite dour and quite serious. And rather than being like, hey, today was a really good day, I feel happy. You just sort of put your chin out and go, yeah, it was all right, wasn't it? You'd have to be cool. So I think my advice to myself would be to just enjoy it, realize how damn lucky you are to be doing it.
Yeah.
Never make an assumption that what you're planning for the next year is going to happen. And just don't take yourself too seriously. because I've definitely, for every decade thereafter, I've lightened up a little bit, because you have to. This sport keeps you damn humble.
Yes. I think that's great advice. And actually, I'm glad you mentioned, being over in England, because we have a lot of people coming over this year from across the pond to compete. And of course, from every country, but you've spent tons of time competing abroad and now competing here in the US. So I'm curious what you would say is one of the biggest things that stands out to you about Kentucky and US eventing versus some of the biggest events in other countries. Like, was there a moment when you thought like, well, this is really different, or, vice versa, kind of about being over there?
I think Kentucky specifically, or America? Sorry, just
either way, just in general. Just curious about all of it.
So America is obviously a ginormous country. So the main thing for me has probably been the weather. Got a little bit spoiled here. It's highly unusual now if you get a day when you're going cross country where you don't get to actually see more than one fence ahead because of the rain. Whereas in England, 70% of the time, you just assume when you get there you're going to get wet. That is eventing. We start in March. Most of the time we're getting towed in our lorries, because we drive lorries there, obviously not trailers, because we're up to our knees in mud. You'll be walking the course and you're getting rained on. By the end of the day, your job is pretty damn black. So yeah, the weather would be the main one. America is just phenomenal. Obviously the heat can be challenging, but you can manage that and horses get used to it. But Kentucky specifically, it just has such a happy vibe. And I think they do such a beautiful job with the hospitality. I think, the viewing there seems very good. And correct me if I'm wrong, in terms of spectators, I think Badminton can get easily a couple of 100,000, but I think Kentucky has a nice volume, is around 90,000 over the 3 days, I believe.
Yeah, I think it is at least more even now, because they brought in the tailgating, so.
So it just has really, really good atmosphere. And I think it's nicely laid out as well. It's not overwhelming, for people coming in to try and watch to get about. It's pretty well structured, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's just a dream come true to be on the list. And I'm still a little bit paranoid to even have a happy celebration moment that I'm there, because normally it's around about now something goes wrong. But, we're hopefully get there in whatever it is now, less than 2 weeks, and get a chance.
Coming very soon.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to talk about kind of your lead-up approach in a few minutes. But first, you turned a lot of heads in this country in the past few years. But last year, for example, a stunning test in the Coastal 4-star to lead after the first phase. People really took notice. And you've had your share of, wins and top performances. But what a lot of people don't fully know is that you also represent what, in my opinion, is an incredible story of hard work, determination, and overcoming hard injuries, and a fight to stay in the sport that you have to be at the top level at some point in your career. Hopefully not, but it does happen. But you've faced that. And just talk to us more about that and how you overcame that time.
Yeah, so I am definitely accident prone, and I am very good at breaking things. This has been a theme of my life. I say the two major ones would be 2013. I fractured my lower leg, foot and ankle in 16 places and had that reconstructed. I was in a wheelchair for 11 months, just completely non-weight bearing. And it was one of the best and worst things that ever happened to me, because it just suddenly reminded me I'm not invincible. And that we do have to, not take for granted the simple things like being able to, shower each day, let alone ride all the time. I won't bore you with that story too much, but I got very good at sit-ups on the floor, because I thought that was really important for nearly a year. The first six-pack of my life.
My leg might not work, but my abs are looking on point.
I felt like sure. And then, 2018, again, a freak accident. I was in England, in the New Forest where I was born, driving back to our family home to go and see my mum, who I hadn't seen for a while. A herd of deer jumped into the road. I'm in a Freelander. I didn't have on a seatbelt, because where I'm from, you don't wear one. They're just country lanes and bad habit. Anyway, I hit a tree. The car crushed me and I broke 28 bones, punctured both my lungs. God. I basically had the whole of my right side, like genuinely everything on the right from here down is now with titanium. So, foot, lower limb, femur, hip, like collarbone. But I don't want to say out loud, the left side's good, touch wood, don't do anything. Yeah, and again, that I used to be a chiropractor, so when I came round after that
Wow.
accident and I got out of ICU and I understood what had happened finally, and I saw the X-rays, I was a little bit in disbelief. I was like, "Have you really done that?"
Mm.
So that was challenging, but I was very lucky. I was allowed to end up rehabbing at the Jockey Club, which is like a neuro ward in Oxford, and they're phenomenal. So they have all the military, like the underwater treadmills and that sort of stuff, which accelerates obviously your ability to start walking and rehabbing. And yeah, I mean, I won't lie, it's tough. I prefer my old body. If you look at me when I'm riding, in fact, if you happen to watch me doing dressage now, which you can, when I come down the centre line, you'll notice I look like this because my right shoulder is literally 5 inches taller than my left one, and my right leg. I'm very asymmetric, so
How did the horses in that time like motivate you? Because I would think, there's days through any injury, but injuries like those where it's really hard.
it's all you want to do. Yeah, it's all you want to do, and for sure, the first set of injuries, so the foot one, I think I got back on in I think month 12, and then I was back at my first international within 3 months, and I actually couldn't trot up. Like I literally was on crutches, but when I was on the horse, I wasn't too bad. Hey, I'm not alone with this, right? This is just what riders do. It's all you want to do. I think if eventing's in your
Yeah.
blood, genuinely, it just has this weird way of making you feel you, right? And I've had stages in my life when I haven't been able to ride, or I've been in an office a lot working. And if I was to take truth serum, all I want to do is be in the saddle, and in a perfect world, have a chance to compete at the high levels as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just freeing. I feel a little bit.
Yeah.
I feel a bit trapped when I can't ride, but I take my hat off to everyone who goes through those chapters, and and again to some who aren't fortunate enough to still be able to.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for a big competition, I said we'd talk about it, but there's so much preparation that goes into something like getting to Kentucky even at all, right? And for both you and your horses, what do these final weeks look like, and what does that preparation look like?
So for Deary, which is the gelding I've got in the 5-star, he's such an introvert, and he's such a sweet but spooky little gelding. Like there's nothing arrogant about him. I'm mainly going to be hacking him, keeping him happy, taking him to the gallops every 4th, 5th day. I will run through the test a few times. He might have a really low-level show jump and pop over a few cross-country fences at home. But what I won't be doing is asking any new questions of him. I'm just really trying to keep him so he's got a swing in his step and he feels like life's fun. I ran him at Stable View this weekend, just gone, in the 4-star short, and he felt as confident as he ever has. Probably because he's been there now 3 times and thought he knew where he was, which helps. But, he's quite a simple creature in his head. So I think he just doesn't need to be shocked at this stage. So I'll be basically just trying to keep him happy, and then I'll probably be disappointed that he won't do the test I know he could do. But I don't want to make him too soft and submissive. I need him to get there with a bit of fire in his belly, because the cross country is more important to me there for this first run.
Sure.
I'm going to keep my mouth shut and my head down and just try and give him a good ride if I can.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And then for you, like yourself, the prep work, I mean, it's like these weeks come and everybody's different the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Some people go a little silent. Some people are, it's almost like you want there to be more work left to do, but you're at a point where the work's been done, or, how's that for you?
Yeah, I mean, I've really taken my time with him. He's been at the 4-star level now nearly 3 years with me. So I do feel like the work has been done. I'm definitely not coming to this early. And I feel like it's time now, Jerry. Come on, give it a go.
Yeah.
I need him to sort of, have a little look and still pop and jump and have faith in me. I'm someone who can compartmentalize pretty well. So I don't get nervous or have struggle sleeping. I just feel really genuinely quite excited to just crack on and try and get myself out there now, and hopefully making this more of a regular pattern, because I've got some good horses that are now finally not 4, they're now 8, 9, 10, 11, and they're coming up through the ranks. So yeah, I'm just real grateful to have a chance to crack on now.
Well, if you could trade places with any other rider in the world for a day, we want to know who you would pick and why.
Ooh, I haven't thought about that before.
It's a hard one, and there are a lot of choices. So you could pick people for a lot of reasons, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, this is going to be really bad viewing now because I'm going to stare at the sky. Can I ask you who you would pick while I think who I'm going to pick?
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, you can put me on the spot. I don't know. I mean, I feel so lucky to know so many eventers in our sport, but I think I might pick Tim Price just because I've watched him literally skateboard to the jog and just be so like laid back about it. And I also had an experience with him one time because obviously at Kentucky I spend so much time on the ramp. And I'm somebody who has to be very calculated, have my plan, stick to my plan. When I was riding at the 5-star level, I figured out, what worked for me and had my headphones in and kind of just do my own thing. And I was so impressed by him a couple of years ago because we were carrying on a conversation about our children on the ramp and laughing. And all of a sudden he looked on his watch. He says, "Oh, I was meant to be on 20 minutes ago."
He's just too cool to
And I thought, wow. And he sure enough, comes trotting back about 10 minutes later, dressed, and goes down and lays down a beautiful test. And I thought, I mean, that is showmanship right there. You can turn it on that fast. So I think I would like to have a day competing where I felt as relaxed as at least he presents.
Yeah, mine's probably not far off that actually. Can I go back in time because he's not quite as current?
You can go anywhere you want.
Pretty damn current, yeah. So Andrew Nicholson, I'd probably go with Andrew Nicholson. A, because I'd love to know what it feels like to have long legs and be wiry and able to round a horse. B, the number of times I've seen him at events, and technically it's a horse fall or technically it's a rider fall, but he doesn't come off.
Right. Incredible. Isn't that incredible? They just all together.
Kilmington in England. The horse jumped into the water jump. It went under. The legs sort of did this. He was back on its back before it got up and carried on around the rest of the course. And I'm like, he's just unreal.
Yeah. Incredible.
Yeah. Incredible. Serious horseman. Yeah.
Well, one of the coolest things I think personally about this sport, and I've been fortunate to get to kind of watch it, is watching different professionals make their walk to the cross country warm up. For me, it's to the warm up at these big 5 stars, not necessarily even to the start box. Yeah. Because at Kentucky, if you're coming this year, you can go out and view it kind of out there. You have to walk out. It's behind where the barns are. But I stand there a lot at the finish all day. And I've gotten to see so many people make their walk from the barn to the warm up. And for me, it's fascinating, right? Because everyone is so different. And a lot of people are really serious. And then you have people who are trying to loosen themselves up a bit and they'll interact with you. And, but the point of that being, right, that everybody's demeanor on cross country day and what works for them to get their head in the game at the biggest competitions in the world is different. And so what is your strategy on cross country morning? Are you a watcher? Are you a napper? Do you eat a big breakfast? Everybody's different. So I'm curious, take us through your cross country morning.
I actually have a bit of I do the same thing normally every time if I go cross country. I don't eat. If I do, it might be half a banana and the rest goes away. I'm a coffee drinker. So depending on what I'm sat on, if I'm on a really hot little mare, I try to stick to one coffee. If I'm on dairy, I'm going in hard. I need to make up for his lack of. And I would have a tendency to listen to music. I'm a big music person. Mm-hmm. And if I'm honest, it's probably something fairly loud and horrific. I mean, not quite Eye of the Tiger, but we're going that cheesy. Yeah,
like, come on, yeah.
I find music really, really helpful. So it's not that I'm trying to calm my nerves. I'm just trying to get in that, like, you can do it sort of headspace. So, and I would like to think I'm normally pretty upbeat. I'll still chat to people and I don't need silence. I'll happily operate in chaos.
Yeah.
Which is
I love that. Yeah, I just love knowing what everybody, because it's so different. I mean, you literally have people that they're like sleeping until the minute they get on, which I've been like, how on earth is that possible? And you have everything in between, right? So I think it's
power naps are good,
fascinating.
Though. Yeah, I did actually have a power nap before the show jumping at Morven in October.
Well, and I think it depends on when you go, right? Like the days can feel very long if you're at the end of them.
For cross country, I'm not likely to nap. No, your adrenals are firing too much for that for me.
For sure. Well, we have a quick mini game we want to play. So it's called Two Truths and a Lie. So you've prepared two truths and a lie about yourself, and I'm going to try to guess which is the lie. So you go for it, Lucienne.
Okay, I'm going to put my poker face on. I was about to say, does it matter what order they go in?
Everyone's asked. This game has actually been very fun. We've done it with everyone. We've had people that didn't even have a lie, so then we were really stumped.
Oh, no.
And we've had a mixed bag. So I'm ready for yours.
So they're not going to be quick sentences. So when I was young and I grew up in England, my father was a professional water skier. So because of that, we would travel through Europe a lot for him. And then by the time I was 15, I spoke 3 languages fluently.
Okay.
The next one, are we going straight away?
Yeah, keep going and then I'll have my questions.
Okay. So in my early 20s, in the winter when we couldn't go eventing in England, I was always super bored and quite fit. And so I started playing girls' netball, and I was told I was too violent to be playing with the local netball team. And I was asked if I would like to join a female rugby team. And within 4 months, I actually got man of the match in a female rugby game.
Okay. And what's your third one?
In my late teens, what are you laughing at me?
I'm trying to figure this out.
In my late teens at college, as part of a dare, I was asked to go and join the debate club and see if I could see it through for one session. So I was on a debating team for one afternoon. And I actually ended up loving it and going back. And then within 6 months, I got an individual recommendation as a female in England as a youth speaks champion.
I don't know. They all seem like they could be true to me. Okay, I'm going to say that number 1 is the lie.
Oh, that's boring. Yeah, it's true. Why? You don't think
Yes. No, well, when you said it, I thought for sure you definitely spoke that many languages or more. So I was like, oh, well, this is the truth. But as you went on, I was like, no, these seem like she's pretty hardcore. I think they're right. Yeah, and I think you could argue and be very good at debate. So that's why.
No,
I never win. And my co-host Lynn Smansky is sitting out today because she had surgery. So we given her 1 day off because that's what you get when you're an eventer. And I won today, so I'm taking it. I can't wait to brag. But so we know the fans have the best questions, or I think they tend to. So we have a few for you from the audience because we've had fan submissions. Marsha from Vermont wrote in. She asked, "What's one random skill the top riders in the world have that's completely unrelated to riding horses?" So what is one of your skills completely unrelated to riding horses that you have?
It's like cavitation. I'm a chiropractor, so I can.
I mean, that's a pretty darn good skill. I think a lot of people, you probably shouldn't have told the world that because they're going to be looking for adjustments pre-cross country.
I can alleviate your pain, Frankie.
That could be very helpful, actually.
It might be very accurate. It's 15 years out of date, but we can give it a go.
It's okay. I think it's good enough. It's like reading the Cliff Notes.
Exactly. We'll go till it makes a sound.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so the next one's from Sarah from Kentucky, one of our locals. She commented on a post with the question, how do you stay focused on each phase of the competition while also preparing for the next?
I personally, when I'm doing something, I'm never projecting beyond that moment. So when I'm physically in the dressage saddle doing dressage, that is all I'm thinking about is kind of, can I feel its hind legs? Can I feel its brain? Is there any part of me here that's blocking it? And that's about as technical as I'm going to get with the dressage. Again, with the show jumping, just trying to make sure the canter's as good as I can get it, and I'm not trying to set them up too much. Yeah, honestly, for me, I'm very much just one thing at a time because I can't think and feel at the same time, so that's a limitation on me.
Well, it might also be a blessing because you can simplify things, right?
Yeah,
where everyone's
the brain works. If I'm not someone that sort of starts forecasting. So if I want to tap into how something's feeling, I have to literally switch my brain off. Otherwise, I get a little bit like I'm not present when I'm riding. So it's actually probably the opposite. I've had to really, really train myself to be very much tuned into what I'm feeling and get out of my own head when I'm riding. So I don't think about the next discipline at all when I'm riding.
I like that. Okay, Bill from California, he asked, at an event like Kentucky, when all the riders have worked so hard to get there, how do they handle the disappointment of a weekend not going how they had hoped and regroup for what's next? I get frustrated when my novice weekend doesn't go well, and I've taken off work and driven hours to attend, and that's just for novice.
Hey, novice or five-star, it's all just as important to that individual, right? So I had that happen last year. I had two horses in the foreshore. I was in the lead after dressage, and I rode too fast at, I think it was fence 6, the coffin, and I had a problem there with both the horses. So that was a proper egg on my face day where one retired at that fence and the other had a 20 and lost the lead at that fence. I think you just say, if you're not winning, you're learning, and do better next time. What mistakes did you make? Assess it. So I analyze retrospectively, but don't analyze in a forecast way. I'm very analytical after the event. So I'll sit down and I'll say, right, okay, everything I have done there that is not as good as it can be, what can we fine tune?
And do you feel like, I feel like you're such a competitor, you feel like that you do that even if it's a great weekend? I mean,
always.
Yeah.
100%, because it doesn't matter how well you're doing, you're never with the whole of the world stage every time.
Yeah.
So you might come home and be like, great, I had I was second today, but then if I looked at it objectively, I'm like, okay, well, let's maybe pop ourselves back into Europe for a minute. I might not have been 25th today, So yeah, 100%. We've got to get better.
I totally agree with you. I mean, I think that a lot of people say about the best competitors that they don't even really like winning that much. They just hate losing. And I've always thought that that's so true, right? Because if you ask a lot of the top competitors, like, oh, how did it feel to win this big event? Or what things have stuck out in your career? It's usually the things they play over and over and over in their head, not crossing the finish line at the big wins. It's usually when it eats you alive and it fuels you because you're not going to let it happen again.
Exactly. Yeah.
Novice or not, Bill.
Exactly, Bill.
Yeah.
Get it right next time.
Before we send you off and back to the barn to continue your final prep for these last few weeks for Defender Kentucky, which is just right around the corner and we can't wait for the 2025 event, talk strategy and thoughts down the ramp and into the main arena as it goes through your head in that Rolex Stadium on a competition day. I mean, most of the world and so many people watching will never get to know what it feels like to ride down that ramp into the main arena. So tell us about what that emotion's like. What are you thinking? How does it feel? All of the above.
It's definitely a very electric stadium, that stadium. It's beautiful. It's a perfect size, but you are aware of the audience. I am not sure yet. Last year, I actually didn't do a arena familiarization beforehand.
Interesting.
My plan was that way he'd be a little bit more lit up so I could put some leg on and there'd be a bit more expression. I don't know if I'm going to be that brave this time. I'm already like, do I do it? Don't I do it? So if I do arena familiarization, I'll probably be breathing better. And if I don't, I'm going to be like, okay, well, you better pull this off. It could be a little bit going either way. Yeah, I always make myself breathe out when I go into a stadium, just personal, I'm a bit of a jaw grinding, teeth clenching person naturally. So I always try and make myself just exhale more than I would want to. And I need to also make myself smile more, because when I watch my American fellow friends like Jenny Browning, they're so smiley, and then I see my playback and I'm like,
well, we actually asked her in one of the episodes. That was a fan question for Jenny, so you have to watch that episode of This Year's Behind the Barn, because we said it. A fan wrote in that she smiles all the time, and she said, well, I'm actually grimacing, and I was told recently that instead of working on my smiling the whole time, I should smile down the center line and then actually look between the horse's ears and be focused. So I think everyone has their own approach of it, right? Some think you need to smile more. I always,
because I don't like, I'm quite I have a sense of humor. That's the way I live my life. But whenever I see myself riding, I look really serious.
Well, I always think that my theory is if you smile so awkwardly huge down center line at the judge at sea, they can't give you worse than a 7 or an 8. It worked for me every time, because like if you're just like Like so awkward. They don't even know what to do with you. They're like trying to not make eye contact, but trying to, and then you can move on from there.
Some sort of behind the barn like
that was my theory. So yeah, there you go. Well, yeah, we can't wait to watch you compete this year, Lucienne. Thanks so much for taking the time to chat with me.
Thank you so much for
being so honest and upfront with us. And for our viewers, don't forget to send in your questions for our riders on the upcoming episodes of Behind the Barn. You can do that via email at info@athletics.com. And don't forget to share this episode with your friends, family, anyone else here worldwide you can think of. A huge thanks to Tryon International once again for sponsoring this episode of Behind the Barn. And on behalf of all of us behind the scenes at the upcoming event, I'm Frankie Terry at Stutes. Thanks for watching.